Hello there everyone, and welcome to Altenew Academy and the Creative Jumpstart class for the Dreams Come True release. Today we'll be creating this card with a few of my favourite things from the release. To start off, I will be using the Wispy Joy stamp set. It's such a pretty one and it has really beautiful small flowers in this one. So I'm going to start off with stamping all of the elements from the stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp all of the outlines using the obsidian ink. For the base of the flowers, I will be using the Mountain Mist ink, and I'll use the same for each of the flowers on this one. For the second layer, I'll then go ahead and stamp on with the Volcano Lake, and then for the third layer, I will be using the beautiful Lagoon, one of my favourite colours that I can't help but to use. So once I have all of the flower layers all nicely stamped, I can then move ahead and go on to the flower center. So for the base of this one, I will be using the Sunray ink. And then for the second layer, I'm going to go ahead and pop that in with some Snapdragon ink. Once that's done, I can then move on to the smaller little flower. This is a really cute little bloom. Again, the outline for that one is the obsidian, and then the first layer or the base layer will be the Mountain Mist. The second layer, again, we're going to pop it in with the Volcano Lake ink. And then for the little flower center, the base one will be the Sunray ink. And then for the second layer of the little flower center that we have, I'm going to go in with the Snapdragon. So I'm then going to go on to the flower that has the leaves attached. So again, as before, the outline is going to be in the obsidian ink. And then for the base layer, we're going to go in with the Mountain Mist, and that's the base layer of the flower and not the leaves this time. So I'm just going to pop that into place. Then for the second layer of the flower, I'm going to go in with the Volcano Lake. And then the third layer, again, as before, is going to be the Lagoon. So we have all of the same colours for the flowers. The flower center on this one only has one layer, so I'm just going to pop that in with the Snapdragon ink. I can then move on to the leaves. So for the base layer of the leaves, I am going to be using the Firefly ink, a really beautiful light green there. Then for the second layer, I'm going to go in with the grass field. And then finally, for the third layer of these beautiful little leaves, I'm then going to go in with the Shadow Creek ink. I really do love this green. It's one of my favorites. So once that's done, I'm then going to move on to the little singular leaf. So we have a cute little leaf here that you can use to fill in the images. I'm going to go in with obsidian for the outline, then the Firefly for the base, green fields for the second layer, and then lastly I'm going to add in that third layer using the Shadow Creek ink. So once that little tiny leaf has been done, I'm then going to move on to the double leaf that we have. This one's quite large. For the outline, again, I'm going to be using the obsidian ink. Once that's down and in place, I can then move on to the base layer. Again, Firefly ink will be used for this one, and then I'm going to be using the grass field ink for the second layer and the final layer of that one. And here is all the layering complete. Once that's done, I'm then going to go ahead and I'm going to die cut all of my images. I am going to be using my little mini blossom. I'm going to take the dies, I'm going to place them around the image. You can see it directly through the die, and then add a little bit of tape just into place while I run that through my machine. As you can see, I am using a little bit of a metal shim, this just to make sure that it does cut perfectly the first time. So once I've cut all those, I'm then going to move on to a little bit more of the die cutting. I'm going to be using the Halftone Hearts Nesting die set, and I'm going to be using this second largest die here. And I'm just going to be cutting that from some of the Mountain Mist cardstock. So there's a really, really light Lagoon Aquarry colour. And I'm just going to run that through my little mini blossom machine there. And then I have this really beautiful kind of heart die cut shape here. Once that's done, I'm then going to take the little die cuts that we have from before and I'm going to arrange them onto my heart how I want them to be. Now, you may want to really play around with this at this point. I did kind of move these around a lot until I was happy with the shape. Once I was happy, I then took a piece of the satin masking tape from Altenew just to keep those little pieces together that are kind of joined, and then I'm going to join them together with a little bit of foam tape on the back and then add that into place onto the heart die cut there. I can just add this one into place because that has the leaves attached already. Once that's done, I'm going to flip that over and I am going to cut off any of the overhanging pieces from behind. I find that it's easier to do this because you can kind of trace around the shape of the heart with your scissors, and then I can remove that little bit of masking tape. One of the leaves that I did snip off, I thought I could reuse, so I'm just going to add a little bit of foam tape to that and then pop that into place just to fill that area up a little bit more. So now I have my main element. I'm going to pop that into place onto the front of an A2 card base. So it's a white card base, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just going to take a little bit of foam tape and add that behind the heart. I did want it to kind of pop a little bit more from the background, so I'm just going to take a little bit of the Volcano Lake ink and I'm just going to add a little bit of a ink blended circle into the center of the card, and that's just going to kind of radiate from that heart when we do pop that down. All I need to do now is remove the backing and then pop that into place. For my sentiment, I am going to be using a piece of emerald cardstock and the Hello from the Hello Friend stamp set. I'm going to be heat embossing onto this, so I'm just going to add some anti-static powder. Then I'm going to stamp the sentiment up using some embossing ink and heat set using some of the pure white embossing powder from Altenew. So once that's nicely been heat set, I'm just going to trim that down just along the top of the hello. Add a little bit of a fancy edge by trimming that with the scissors, and then I am going to add a little bit of foam tape just behind the hello strip, just where it's going to go on the card base and not over the heart itself. I did have to move it, it was getting a little bit trapped. So once that's down and I'm happy with the placement of that one, I can flip that over, get rid of any of the overhanging pieces, and here is the card complete. I really do hope that you've liked the card and that you've enjoyed the video as well. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share because we'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching everyone, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye bye.